Hello, welcome Andy Harrington to the Introbiz Global Summit. How are you doing today?
Thanks, Tracy. I'm doing really well, thank you. I'm super excited to be here with you, have the opportunity to share some knowledge, know-how, and experience with your audience. So thanks for having me on.
Amazing. Well, I know ladies and gents, I'm just going to tell you a little bit about Andy. He is the Sunday Times bestselling author of Passion into Profit, How to Make Big Money from Who You Are and What You Know. He is also the founder of the Professional Speakers Academy that helps entrepreneurs position, perform, and pitch their way to profit. He has shared the stage with the likes of Richard Branson, Donald Trump, Tony Robbins, and Bill Clinton. Andy's passion is helping people realize their potential through building an enterprise that truly makes a difference and leaves a lasting legacy. So, Andy, just tell us a little bit about where did your journey start and from where you were to where you are now.
Yes, so from an entrepreneur point of view, 1998 was the watershed moment when I first started a business. I was working for Churchill Insurance at the time, and I left to start a recruitment company. I didn't have any money. I borrowed £10,000 from the Abbey National for a car loan because, they'd lend me money for that, but to start a business, they wouldn't. So I took that money and started my first business. 5 years later, we'd done 21 million in revenue, sold the business, and then went on a exploration journey of what I really wanted to do. I was inspired by, as many people, Tony Robbins, to share that kind of a message. So I saw what was happening in London about that time. This is with 2002, 2003. There were a few sort of preview events available, but they were mostly in like property space or options trading, things like that. I thought, would this work for personal development? So that's what I did. I started doing a 3-hour event called Breakthrough, used newspapers, radio, and email marketing to get people to attend. And I'd do that. Then I'd invite people at the end of that to come to one of my other weekend events that I created. And that's what I did. And over the years, many ups and downs, obviously, but over the years, I kind of developed an understanding of marketing and messaging and selling. And that's really my core forte. I do the mindset stuff because I love it, but really it's much more now around message and marketing to help people to get clients, build a business, share a message that gets them noticed and also serves people as well.
Amazing. And I think, marketing has changed so much over the years now, hasn't it? Before it used to be years ago when I first started, I used to work for newspapers and it was always promote. And, it was now it's just a new way of doing things. It's all about education now, isn't it? And a lot of people tend to educate people in order to, to actually grow their business now. So just tell us a little bit about what your webinars look like.
Yeah, well, there's a multitude of different ways that we get clients in. Webinars is one of those. We have an automated webinar that runs every 15 minutes. Its sole purpose is to educate the client, obviously, but also it's important people to remember that marketing is a disqualification process. Now, what does that mean? It means not everyone's going to be your ideal client. Yeah. So if you've got a manual way of trying to figure out if someone's your ideal client or not, that's a very clunky and clumsy process. You need an automated way to find people, do the heavy lifting for you, and sift people into, yes, they are my target market. No, they're not. Because then once you actually start personally engaging with a lead or personally engaging with somebody, you want to be pretty sure they are likely to be a high probability client, because otherwise you end up wasting a lot of time. So webinars is one of the other ways we do that. We also have a Facebook group. It's very interesting. Facebook groups have had quite a bit of a renaissance. So we have a group which grows by around 75 to 120 people a day. Like, so a lot of people. It's called The Virtual Expert. If you want to check it out, please do. It's really exclusively for coaches, trainers, course creators, people in the educational space who are, literally a coach or advisor, something like that. And we use that vehicle, the Facebook group. One, it's very, very cost effective to get a lead to join that group. The goal of that group is to create culture, to create community. But
Yeah.
we have a very unique way of monetizing that group that most people don't know how to do. So that's another way that we get people into our kind of empire, if you like, or our funnels, is through a Facebook group. So that works really well too.
So what you do is you advertise on Facebook, and then it brings people into the Facebook group. You get them to join that first and then do an upsell. What does that look like?
Yeah, it's kind of like that. Yeah, exactly. But it's not so. The upsell, we don't sell to anybody unless they're absolutely perfect for it, because it's not worth it. So instead, think of it this way. Think of it as, adds to Facebook group to grow a group. There are ways to do that, by the way. They're not well known, but there is a way to grow a group using Facebook ads. You can grow it organically as well. Don't get me wrong; it just take longer.
Yeah.
And then from there, the goal is, in essence, to find a way to not just to add value, but each time we're adding value, we're qualifying the client. What we want to do is we want to have a chat to people who are our ideal client, but we're going to do that in a clever way that means we only end up speaking to people who are very likely to work with us, if that makes sense. So the beauty of a group is not everyone's ready to buy when you're ready to sell.
No, of course.
But they will be at some point, probably. If you have people on your email list, it's good, but email is pretty distant, cold, and unreliable as a medium of communication. Inside a group, it's different. It's an active group. You've got 100. You can imagine 100 new people coming every day, giving fresh impetus, fresh energy into that group. We've got case studies. We've got shares going on. We've got live streams taking place, and we've got people constantly reaching out through Facebook Messenger saying, "How do we work with you? What's the next step? How does this work?" And it's just beautiful, because then it's a constant source of leads coming in all the time. That in essence means we're in a good position to choose the people we work with. Brilliant.
So obviously, I know a lot of people are saying at the moment, and you're saying the complete opposite, which is amazing, that Facebook is not so active anymore for getting leads. But obviously, you must be doing something right to be doing that, because there's a lot of people saying that it's really gone down in activity on Facebook groups.
Just got to adapt. I mean, the reason is because they're not growing a group. You have to better grow a group. If you start a group on Facebook and then expect like organically for it to continue to grow, forget it. It's not going to happen. And as soon as a group stops growing, you lose fresh energy, fresh impetus, and eventually that group will die because it becomes unresponsive. Because people in the group have a certain life cycle. Does that make sense? And if you put people in the group through your existing network, but then you don't feed it with new people, expect it to die. You have to feed it. If you don't fresh blood into that, if you don't put new people into that group because you see it as a strategy that's worth investment, then your group will die. We get a fresh new member on Facebook that's our target market, 100% our target market. They answer questions to say they are our target market for less than £5. So you know what you think about it, we're getting a brand new lead every single day for just £5. And so because we know the lifetime value of that member, we're very happy to get those members in. So there's loads of very clever stuff that we're doing that gets people. And if we want to understand how that works, look, the easy thing to do, by the way, you have to be a coach, consultant, trainer, mentor, advisor, otherwise it's kind of pointless. But if you go to the virtual expert on Facebook group, you can request to join. Just see what we do. Just watch the whole experience, because there's a whole process behind it, which helps us to make sure that it's not going to be something we just do and lose money. There's a process in place there, but it's a beautiful and eloquent process. It's not a blunt process. It's very eloquent. And it's not salesy in any way, shape or form. So it's a very calm, gentle process, but it just works.
Yeah, amazing. So what does your typical client look like? Who the types of people that you're looking to work with?
Yeah, so anybody that in essence is in an advice sharing business. So coach, consultant, trainer, advisor, course creator. It's someone that in essence is an expert at solving a particular problem. They're not a generalist. Now, you're an expert at solving a particular problem for a particular type of person or a business. And they're great at what they do. You've got to bring your, if you want to work with us, if you want to get benefit from working with us, you've got to bring your A game, because we're going to bring ours.
Yeah.
But if we bring our A game and you're a C grade player, there's not a lot I can do to help you, because all we're going to do is amplify something that's not ready. Does that make sense? So, we're looking for A game players. It doesn't mean you have to be an A game player now. You might be, but you've got to have that ambition and drive to improve, adapt, get better. And we're also looking for people who charge a decent amount. Like if you're charging a very small amount of money for what you do, then your business is basically broken. If for you to make £10,000, €, if you've got to make more than 4 sales, unfortunately your business is broken, most likely, because you're not Amazon, you're not you're not Sainsbury's. So you've got to be selling if you're a small enterprise, which most people listening to this almost certainly are, you can't make what you do a commodity. It has to be because it's world class. It's got to be a great solution. And in order for you to be able to serve people well, you've got to charge a decent amount of money, because A, you've got to pay for advertising. B, got to provide a world class service. That costs money. So you got to be charging. So for us, you really need to be charging at least £2,500, £3,000, €, at least, for your bread and butter thing you do. Now, I'm not talking about lead magnets and small products to try to attract people. I'm not talking about. I'm thinking you actually sell, that's your bread and butter. If that right now is less than 2.5, 3 grand, you have a problem. Either you've got a problem in your head mentally about how much you're actually worth, or your marketing is so poor and so non-existent or so ineffective that you've had to drop the price significantly just because you think, well, I have to, because no one's buying at this price. You're now going to make it cheaper, which is a race to the bottom. The price people pay has nothing to do with, in essence, how good you are, or it's got nothing to do with anything other than your marketing isn't good enough. If you have a huge demand, and of course you're only one person, so you'll have a limited supply, then your price will go up continually. If you have no leads coming in and you've got an oversupply because, I'm not doing anything because I haven't got any clients, then there's going to be downward pressure to keep your price low. So you have to solve that problem first. We've solved it. We know how to do that. So we just want to share that with other people because it's quite a simple process. And I'm on a bit of a mission to help people in the coaching, consulting, training industry, because most people don't get paid what they're really worth and end up selling something way below the value they provide. It's not win-win. Their clients win, they lose. Clients get great results and they lose because they're not making enough money.
Yeah, of course. Absolutely. So you would say, what's the sweet spot for prices then when they work with you? You said like $2,000 to $3,000 pounds. What would you say is a good package for if somebody was out there, a coach is listening right now today, and they were saying, I sell for say 1,500, but obviously you're saying 2,000 plus. What would you say?
1,500 is a starting point. That's. I mean, to go from 1,500 to 3 grand, that's a mental issue. You don't even have to do anything new for that. You just have to make the ballsy thing and now start just selling it at 2,995. If you're currently selling something at £100 an hour, 150 an hour, you've got a package. Don't sell individual sessions. Don't sell small bits. Package it and say the minimum investment is 10 sessions at this price. That's it. Otherwise, you've got to make 10 yeses to get 10 individual yeses. That's an old model of doing things. It makes no sense. So you need to package things up into a program, like a 90-day program, 3 months. They've got to commit volume time, because look, you're not going to get a result with somebody in one session anyway. It's just disingenuous. Why would you even sell them one session? It makes no sense. I'd rather give them that session for free, for half the time, but knowing it's a sales call, than actually have a coaching session, which is not designed to sell to somebody. Because a coaching session is designed to give to somebody. Does that make sense? So there's a better model of doing that. So a 90-day program, and you need two. You need like an opening one that's 3,000 plus, and then you need a higher level program that's probably in the close to 10,000, 7, 8, 9,000 at least, or even more. That's your kind of year-long program, for example, for those people that you know are really invested and want to go deeper with you. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously you talked about the the assessment. So when you're actually advertising, do you get them to fill out an assessment form? So it's like the elimination process of, are you this, are you earning X amount of money? Do you want to grow your business? Is that the type of thing that you do as part of your marketing process?
There's two ways we do that. So if it's a webinar where they're not inside our Facebook group, for example, they've just seen an ad and gone straight to watch an automated webinar. Yeah, then at the end of the webinar, there's going to be a questionnaire that helps us, because they book a call, but then we got to decide, well, are you ready for a call? Like, or are you just kind of not our ideal client? There's no point having a 60-minute call with somebody if they're, way off. We want to guide them down a different route. So yes, if they're inside our group, that probably happens through a Facebook Messenger chat instead.
Right.
So we have people that people that will chat to people on Facebook Messenger. They know what questions to ask quickly to ascertain if this person's worth elevating to a call. So we'll probably chat to people initially through Facebook Messenger first in that environment.
Okay, cool. And obviously you talked about, whether marketing is good marketing or not. So you're obviously amazing at what you do. You're super successful. What would you say are the top 3 tips on how to get the right marketing message out there if someone was asking you that?
Yeah. So look, you've got to know your client's pain. You have to be able to articulate it in such a way that when they consume, read, watch, listen to your marketing message, they go, oh my gosh, it feels like this was written just for me. Like it has to feel that way. You've got to sell, isn't it? Yeah, you've got to sell the problem before you sell the solution, right? And the reason for that is because all human beings are, as Tony Robbins says, are deletion machines. So in essence means when you've got a problem, you try to ignore it. You distance yourself from it. The goal of marketing is to bring that problem back to the forefront of their mind in such a way that becomes an immediate urge to solve it. And at the same time, you get the feeling that the person talking to you understands intrinsically what you're going through. It's almost like they were in your head this morning, knowing what you were saying to yourself. When you can enter the conversation in such a way to go, oh my gosh, that's me, they can't ignore it. And that's when they move forward. So you've got to be able to do that. And most people don't know how to do that. Or if they do it in such a generic, blunt way that it doesn't really land. That the problems they're talking about are too generic. It's like, are you wasting time? Well, everybody wastes time. So it's not that. You've got to have something much more specific, geared to specifically that marketplace, their specific challenges, problems, fears, worries, concerns. That's what you've got to target. And also, you've got to be able to articulate something else, which is that client's coping mechanisms. All human beings, including businesses that include human beings, what they do is we all develop workarounds. So when you've got a problem, you typically develop a workaround, a coping mechanism. It's like you don't really solve the problem. You've got like some workaround instead. And if you can articulate people's, stereotypical workarounds that they go around and you're able to talk into those, they go, oh my God, that's me. Right, they go like, oh shit, I do that, right? And that's it. So you've got to not only understand their pain point, but also what is their coping mechanism? Because once you call people out on that coping mechanism, you go like, oh God, this person really knows, because they know, like if you've got a shoulder injury, for example, right? Let's say and I've had that in the past. I didn't solve it immediately. I learned to put my coat on a different way. You know what I mean? Because you avoid going, it's painful. So you adapt your life, or you learn to sleep in a different way, with your arm down by your side, so it doesn't hurt. And when if somebody ever showed me an ad and said, oh, are you sitting at your computer a lot? Do you tend to get rounded shoulders? Are you having pain in your shoulder right there? Perhaps right now you learn to put your coat on a different way. Perhaps you've been sleeping a different way. And every now and again you catch it and it really hurts, doesn't it? Like, God, this person knows me. And now they've done the diagnosis, right? And so now I'm keen. I'm gonna press a button. I'm gonna move forward to the next step. And if the next step hints at a solution to this problem from what somebody who's an expert, I'm gonna watch that webinar. I'm gonna join that Facebook group, because it's clear they understand. They're not some just generic person, they know, right?
Yeah.
That's what makes you an expert. You go to the, and then you go to the, if you're going to go to see the shoulder specialist, he's going to stand in the room, you're going to put your arm out like this, and he's going to go, okay, now, can you, I want you to test, can you do that? Yes. Okay. Can you turn your thumb down like this? Because if you do, I think it's probably going to hurt quite a bit. And you go, and you're like, he says, I know exactly what problem you got. Okay. You got this problem, this problem, this problem. And the reason you've got that is because of this reason, this reason, and this reason.
And I think a lot of people as well, like you see, a lot of people have this mindset, and even, like in Britain, we have the cheap mindset of things should be cheap and government funding and all this sort of stuff. And, when somebody charges, like say a plumber comes in and he charges, say, 300 quid to stop a leak, for instance, just as an example. And people say, and it's only taken him 10 minutes to do. And people say, oh my God, 300 quid for 10 minutes. But what they seem to forget is all the training that they've done beforehand. And like yourself, it's taken you years probably to learn the processes. So what does it look like for somebody that wants to buy off you as a paying customer? What does it look like somebody working with you? What are they going to learn? And it's the transformation, isn't it, that you're going to give to people and what the potential that they can earn in the future. That's what people have got to realize, isn't it? It's the transformation.
Yeah, look, if you buy one of my sort of 30, I've got 13-week programs, we've got some 16-week programs. But whether you buy a 13-week or a 16-week program, you're not buying 13 or 16 weeks. You're buying 18 years. You're buying 18 years of experience.
Exactly.
Rolled into a program in 13 weeks, so you haven't got to spend 18 years figuring out how to do it through trial and terror like most of us have had to do. That's what you're paying for. You're paying for speed. You're paying for efficiency. You're paying for less pain. That's what you're paying for. If you want the guy to spend 2 hours looking around and doing it and figuring out how to do it, why would you do that? Why would you be in pain for an extra 2 hours just because you go like, well, you're paying for a result. That's what you're paying for. And the most important thing, look, the resource that we have that's limited the most is time. That's the one we can't get back. What's more important, money or time? Time wins every single time because money comes back, time never does. So you've always got to constantly invest in things that save you time, save you pain, save you time. So that's what people are buying into. So we've got different programs. So if somebody right now is a coach, trainer, for example, and they don't have their own 90-day program, they haven't got something to sell at, a price point of 1,500 plus, then we've got a program for that. And we'll teach you how to create your own amazing 90-day program with exercises built in, with assignments built in, and a way then that they can send the assignment, your client can send the assignments to you so you can give them feedback on them. All that kind of stuff is amazing. That then makes it worth that money. Because if you just sell an online training program and it's just a do-it-yourself, meaning the client watches it, there's no support built in, then don't expect to sell that for $3,000. But if you build a 90-day program that's got exercises, implementation, support, hand-holding, feedback built in, then you can start to charge $3,000. But most people don't know how to do it. They don't know how to do it, and they don't know how to scale it. So we've got a program for that. And that program also teaches you how to create an automated webinar type presentation to sell it. That runs at about $3,000. And then we've also got programs for selling and scaling. So once you've got what you're selling in place, you then need to learn how to scale it, which means, okay, how do I do the ads? If I get someone in the phone, how do I talk to them? How do I convert that into a sale? How do I optimize everything? So we have like that layer as well. And that's like another, on its own would be $6,000. If you buy it with the other one, it's a bit less. So we have those programs as well. We've got payment plans and stuff as well. But look, I don't want, it's nice of you to ask me to set that up, but actually I'm not here to sell anything to anybody because in real terms, I don't even know if it's right for you. So the easiest thing people could do right now, if they like this conversation and it resonates, and they are a coach, a trainer, a mentor, or someone in the advice sharing industry of any kind, the easiest thing they can do right now, because there's no cost, is just reach out to, they just type in the virtual expert on Facebook. And then there's about 3 qualifying questions to answer. And then my team will buzz them into the group and just engage. There's live streams every Tuesday. There's lots of free training I offer people in there as well. It's just a great place to get started. And then if they want to have a conversation with us about, can you teach me the whole program? they can just reach out through Messenger at that point and have a conversation with me or my team. Yeah.
Yeah, amazing. And when you think about it, if that's your prices, between 3 and 9, so call it, say, 10 grand as a whole thing, again, what they'll learn, they're going to sell 10,000 over and over again. I mean, that's an absolute no-brainer for someone, really, isn't it?
Well, yeah, exactly. Once they've established something worthy of that price point, you're going to sell 2 or 3 of those, and you're going to be in the money quite easily. And that program will show you how to do that, and that's our goal. And then everybody wins, right? It's a win-win situation. Now, am I going to say that everybody 100% that we ever communicate with becomes, a multimillionaire? No, of course not. Not everyone wants that anyway, and not everyone has enough X factor about them probably that they could even potentially become that. But there's a whole myriad in between it. People just want a lifestyle business. Some people just want to make their first few sales. Some people want to get to 6 figures and that's their thing. But either way, you need quality leads coming in. You need to be able to convert those leads, and you've got to have something to sell that means you can run a proper business. So that's what we do.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like with Introbiz. If people come on board with Introbiz, if they don't come to the events and they don't connect with people, they're not going to do business. So, they've got to take action, haven't they? Well,
Yeah,
as I say, that's an absolute no-brainer for people. So obviously, if people are looking to reach out to you, that they want to grow their business, they want to get more leads, they want to know how to convert through Facebook groups and Facebook ads, and obviously all the scripting, how do they reach out to you, Andy? Apart from the,
I don't know if you can put it on the bottom there. I don't know if you can do a banner, because we do banners. Can you do banners there?
Yeah, we can put that in.
If you put a banner in with the virtual expert here, if you can type that away, that's probably the easy thing. So it's pretty simple. The virtual expert. Then they'll be they'll be able to just follow that. Just literally go to Facebook, the virtual expert.
Amazing.
If they want to see a webinar of ours, they can do that as well. But actually, the easiest thing is come to the virtual expert first, because it's such a simple thing to do, really, and come and join us there.
Fantastic. Well, it's been amazing chatting to you, Andy, and I'm super excited for you to see what how you're going to change people's lives even more. So anybody that wants to, please do.
Well, I'm super hopeful that we're all about to be human beings again soon and meet each other and see. I'm sure for your business that'd be great as well. But it does look somewhat positive. So let's keep our fingers crossed.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much for spending time with me today, Andy. It's been an absolute pleasure, as always. Thank you so much.
That's all right, guys. Yeah. So like I said, come and see us at The Virtual Expert, and we'll see what we can do to help you if we can.
Amazing. Thank you, Andy.